Continuum Pixel Chooser includes a range of tools for quickly and easily controlling where your continuum effect is applied to your shot. Whether you need a simple mask or you want to enhance only the sky, focus only on faces, rescue hair detail with a single click, or add a little drama by intelligently controlling where in Z-space your effect is applied. You can do all of this and more with Continuum's Pixel Chooser. So let's take a look at a few examples that will give you some ideas about how you could use Pixel Chooser in your work. And we'll start by looking at the basics. So I have BCC Plus Photographic applied here. And for BCC Plus effects, you'll find the Pixel Chooser in the Mocha Mask and Track section. And for BCC effects like halftone here, which I have turned off at the moment, you'll find Pixel Chooser under the Pixel Chooser Mocha settings. I'm just going to remove that one. Okay, so for this photographic effect, I've just changed the color to pink just to make the sky a little more interesting. Just turn that off, you can see it's a little washed out. But at the moment, of course, it's applied to the entire shot. So we have pink rocks and pink talent and pink bushes. So let's use Pixel Chooser to control this. So under Mocha Mask and Track, our first option here is Mask. So let's try that. Under Shape, you have some different options. I'm going to choose Rectangle. All right, so with a little adjustment, probably on the X, just to make that a little wider, and just move that up on the Y. We can get it to cover all of the sky, but of course it's covering the talent and the top of the rocks here. So probably not ideal. We also got this really hard line here. So I'll just turn that off for now and twirl up Mask, and let's take a look at Gradient, which is our next option. Under Gradient Type, we have Circular, Linear, and Strip. I think Linear would work well here, and that's already doing a better job. It is actually still affecting this area down here a little bit, and we can see that more clearly by just turning on View Mask and Matte to view the matte. So white, of course, is 100% effect, and black is 0 effect. So we've got all of this in between, this gray area, that's still a certain amount of pink on this shot. So let's control it a little more by adjusting the fall off. Maybe pull that up. Not perfect, but I think that will definitely help. And now we've got it more towards the top, but it is still affecting the talent a little bit. So let's, for now, just turn that off, twirl that up, and open up Matte. Now here we can use a channel from the footage itself as the matte, and you can even pull a key. I'm going to choose Luma in this case. We'll definitely need to see the matte for this one. Okay, so we can fine tune that by just crushing the blacks. That's pretty good. And we can adjust the whites, and just like that, we've got our matte. So let's turn that off. And now we have that pink just in the sky area. But I would prefer just to be able to limit it to the top here and just keep this a little warmer down the bottom. And we can do that by combining mattes and masks. So if we come up and twirl open Gradient again and just choose our Linear, and there we go. We have a look at the matte. Now we're not affecting the talent or the bushes, and we've got a nice fall off. So more pink at the top and a little less down the bottom. So let's just turn that off, and that's ready to go. So these basic Pixel Chooser tools give you plenty of options for manually selecting how the effect is applied. But next, let's take a look at the tools that use machine learning for a faster and more automated workflow. All right, so I've jumped across from After Effects into Avid Media Composer, and I've just put this shot onto the timeline. And what I'd like to do is make the sky look more blue in this case. And once again, I don't want to affect the talent or the inside of the car. So we'll try and do that using the basic tools first. I'm going to change the color of the sky using looks. So BCC plus looks. I'll just drop that onto the clip. And I'm going to load a preset just by clicking on FX Editor. And in this case, just something that looks a little cooler. So maybe not bleach cool, something like cool, okay? Obviously, if I apply that to the whole shot, the whole thing's going to look cool. But this is where we can use Pixel Chooser. So I'll apply that, and let's try and pull a Luma matte from this. So I'll turn Pixel Chooser on, And under matte, I'll choose Luma. We definitely need to see the matte for this one. Right, so you can see there's going to be a bit of a problem because she's got blonde hair and this very light colored blouse. So we can try and crush the blacks and adjust the whites, but it's immediately, obvious what the problem is. If we just turn that off, we've got blue hair, and that's not going to work. So this is where Mask ML inside of Mocha comes in really handy. So let's turn that off by choosing none. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to click on Mocha Mask. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is switch across to the Essentials workspace, just to keep things nice and simple. And I'm going to select the Create New Mask ML Layer tool. So 2 clicks should work for this. So one on the left-hand side, almost there, and one on the right-hand side, perfect. Select the Pick tool, that creates our spline. Now, I wasn't on frame 0, so in order to render this forwards and backwards, I'm going to click this button here. And we'll just let that automatically create the mask for us. Once it gets to the end of the shot, it'll jump back to this keyframe and render back towards the beginning. And that's done. Now, I would like to use this for the smoke and fog effect to create some clouds. So to save me from having to do this again, I'm going to come up and choose File, Export Project, and I'm going to call this car window 2 because I've already done this before. I'll just say Save, and I'm going to save this and close. And there you go. Look, it's just inside the window. But you may notice that we've got this rather hard edge, and we can fix that with one click by coming down under Mask and turning on Matte Refine ML. So I'm going to enable that, but just watch what happens to the hair. Ah, very nice. We'll just move around the shot. You can see we're getting a nicely refined edge, and that's already looking much better. So you can see there, with just a few clicks, we can create an automatic mask and we can refine the edge with just one button click. But I would like to add some clouds to this. So what I'll do next is come up and do a search for smoke, and there's BCC plus smoke and fog. Just hold down the Alt key and add that effect. Now, once again, I'll load a preset, and I've saved this one as a favorite. This is Fluffy White Clouds. I created specifically for this look. So I'm going to apply that, and now we have clouds inside the car, which is not what we want. So what we can do, again, is twirl open Mocha Mask and Track. Turn on the pixel chooser, click on Mocha Mask. This time, from the File menu, choose Merge Project, and just I'm going to go to the desktop, which is where I save that, and load that up. So there it is. Close it up, save, and now we have them right where we want them. Although I would like to have a little less down the bottom here because you have the land here and the sky. So it looks a bit strange. Also, the edges are a little sharp. So once again, we can come in under Mask and just enable Matte Refine ML. That takes care of that issue. And like we did with the sky shot, let's combine mattes just to isolate it to the top of the frame. So I will just come down to Gradient, turn this to Linear again. And that's already almost got us where we want to be. So I'll just view the mask and just make some minor adjustments. Just again, adjust the fall off, maybe something like that. And we'll turn that off again. And now we have some fluffy white clouds, which enhance the shot even more. And we can finish this shot off by using BCC plus Beauty Studio along with Face ML inside Pixel Chooser to remove some of the shininess from the model's skin. And I've just switched across to Adobe Premiere Pro to do this, because what I'd also like to do is show you how quickly and easily you can share your saved Mocha projects across different hosts. So I've got the BCC Plus looks effect with the same preset. If I click on Mocha Mask, come up and choose File, Merge Project. There's the Mocha project I saved in Avid. Click Open, Save, and there we go. And with the clouds added, we have the same result we had in Avid. Okay, so now we're ready to do the beauty work. So I'll just come to a more representative frame, something where we can see the face a little more clearly. And just to speed things up a little bit, I'm just going to disable both of those effects. And let's apply Beauty Studio. Drag that onto the clip. And we can see what it's doing by choosing View and Color Matte. So it's obviously working on the face there, but it's affecting the lips, the hair, her blouse, and the interior of the car. So we need to isolate it to just the face area, and this is so easy now with Face ML. So if I just enable that, I'm not going to see it yet because under View, we need to choose Face ML Matte. All right, so you can see how that's isolated that. And it's only selected the skin because skin is checked, but you have other options, other parts of the face that you can choose as well. I'll leave it on the skin and just choose Combined Matte. And there we go. So it's not affecting the lips, it's not affecting the eyes or the eyebrows. If we come back to output and just turn that on and off, you can see we've gotten rid of that shininess on her skin. So just by enabling Face ML and having skin selected, then the job is done. To learn more about Face ML, be sure to check out the full tutorial, which covers it in a lot more detail. But for now, let's move on to Depth Map ML. Okay, now, I originally set this shot up in After Effects, but I thought I'd give it a go in DaVinci Resolve, and I was going to set it up and walk you through my setup, but it is so fast, I thought we could do this step by step. Take a look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to darken down this forest and add some blue mist, and I'm going to isolate it to just the background using Pixel Chooser's Depth Map ML. Take a look at this. So first of all, we'll choose day for night. So that's BCC plus day for night. Just drop it on. That makes everything really dark. I'm just going to use the default settings. Come up to Mocha Mask and Track. Twirl open the Pixel Chooser. Turn that on. And twirl open Depth Map ML and enable. So you can see there's a change there. We can select View Matte. And that gives you a better idea about, what's going to be affected in the shot. So white areas will be darker and black areas will be brighter. We want to invert that, so I'm just going to click Invert. Aha. Okay, so I'll just turn that off for a moment. And now he's a little brighter, right? So switch that back on. We can adjust that just by increasing the brightness and increasing the gamma. Watch how the gamma moves that back into the distance on the Z. Amazing, right? So if we turn that back on, look at that. The background is all dark and he's still nice and bright. Like he's walked into an area where the sun is shining through the trees, but the background is all dark. And if we just adjust the gamma again, look how that pushes that darkness further back. Amazing. And I haven't had to go into Mocha. I haven't had to even use Mask ML. It's all automated. So I want to do the same thing, but this time add some smokiness behind him or some mist. So I'm going to choose Smoke and Fog. Again, never before we created clouds. This time I'm going to use that for smoke or mist. So I actually saved a preset in After Effects a few moments ago, so I'm going to load that up just by clicking on FX Editor. It's this one here, Blue Mist, looking really nice. So I'll apply that. Okay, so that's obviously in the foreground, in front of the talent. So once again, twirling open Mocha Mask and Track, turning on the Pixel Chooser, turning on Depth Map ML, and we want it to be inverted. And there it is in the background. See how quick that was? I even surprised myself with this stuff. I've done it a few times, but every time I do it, I think, oh God, that was quick. So watch this. If I adjust the gamma, Look how that pushes that smoke or that mist further into the background. And I can control this even further by combining mattes in Pixel Chooser. So if I, for example, tool open gradient and turn on circular, now I can adjust these settings. For example, maybe the aspect, then make it sort of a thin, maybe there's a, like God rays shining in behind him and the smoke is just being revealed in those rays. Maybe I could choose linear and just isolate that to the top of the frame. So you can use the ML tools and combine them with other Pixel Chooser options, which is really terrific. So really quick way to isolate your effects using Depth Map ML. So let's finish this off by jumping back into After Effects so I can quickly show you the Pixel Chooser apply modes. Pixel Chooser's apply modes give you more creative options as to how the Pixel Chooser data is applied to your shot. And I've got this example of a dancer here. So in order to make this look a little more interesting, I've used BCC plus looks just to make the background black and white. And once again, using Mask ML inside of Mocha, just to create a quick mask. And I've saved that mask and I've applied it to BCC plus video glitch. All right, so the result there is the standard look. So this is pre-Continuum 2026. So this is the post-effect look. So if we just twirl that open, you can see under Apply Pixel Chooser, post-effect is chosen. So what this is doing is it's applying the video glitch, then it's using the Mocha mask to mask that out. And while it's an interesting look, it may not work in all cases. It doesn't look particularly good with video glitch. So in this particular case, I'm going to use the next option, which is pre-effect. That's much more interesting. So now we have masked the talent out using Mocha mask, and then we've applied the video glitch to that. So we don't get that cut off look, and I think that looks a lot more effective. Now you will notice that we are seeing that hard edge there. Again, we can come down into Mask and choose Matte Refine ML. And that cleans that up pretty well. Does a nice job. Now, beneath pre-effect, we have both. So this is a combination of post and pre. So it's worth taking a look at that depending on the effect that you're using and see what result you get. This option is also very useful. This is stacked composite. So this is going to give us the pre-effect look, and then it's going to composite the masked version back on top of that. And this is really helped by Matte Refine ML. Just turn that off again. So there's that ugly edge. And now it's gone. I really like that look. Now, if you're using an editor, it's not so important here in After Effects, but in an editor like Avid or in Resolve, you have options for how the alpha is affected. So there's alpha masked. So when I choose that, you can see I've got a layer below this. This is just a piece of stock footage. And it's masking out that layer and compositing it over the background. The other option is alpha composite, which is similar to stacked composite, but it also uses the alpha. So it composites her back on top, and we get that pre-effect. So two very useful modes, alpha composite and alpha masked, when working in the nonlinear editors. All right, so hopefully that's given you a good idea about just how useful the Pixel Chooser is in Continuum, especially with the ML tools. If you'd like to learn more, visit borisfx.com. You can also download a free trial version. For now, this is John. See you in the next tutorial.